Darrell Jazz Johnson, Gospel Herald, CitySportsReport.com. I'm here with legendary journalist. Yes, you are definitely a legend, Mr. David Aldridge. David, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well. First, what in the world is going on with these New York Knicks?
Well, what's going on is they're rebuilding. Rebuilding is painful and long, and it's hard. It's hard on fans. It's hard on the players, the organization. Believe me, I covered a lot of rebuilding teams. There's no easy way around it. There's no easy way through it. You know, this is a means to an end. Trying to find 2 or 3 guys who might be able to help you down the road. But the reality is the vast majority of this team is not on this roster right now. They're playing somewhere else, either in college or for some other NBA team.
How would you assess the trade that was made on Monday between the Cleveland Cavaliers, the New York Knicks, and the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Well, you know, Cleveland needed a wing defender desperately. So even though they got to wait a couple weeks for Shumpert, he'll help them. I think JR can score. You know, we all know he can do that. So I never have a problem with a guy who can score on a basketball team because that's the name of the game. So it helped them. You know, OKC's taking a reasonable gamble on Waiters, who's a talented guy, didn't fit in there in Cleveland, but that doesn't mean he's a bad player or that he won't fit in OKC. And the Knicks got rid of some more salary because they're trying to clear as much cap room as possible for this summer and for the summer of 2016.
Now let's take an overall look at the NBA. Steph Curry, James Harden are 2 MVP candidates who are off to a great start. How good can the Golden State Warriors be, and do you think they can compete for an NBA championship this year?
I do. They have to stay healthy, primarily Bogut. He's their best defensive player and one of their best facilitators offensively. If he's healthy, they got a great shot. I think Steve Kerr's done a really good job getting more movement in the offense. They don't have as much isolation, so everybody's touching the ball. I think everybody feels like they're a part of it, more a part of it, I should say. And they were already good defensively. They were already good offensively, but they were already good defensively. Now they're much better. I think Draymond Green's been terrific for them this year. At both ends of the floor. He's been sensational. But they need Bogut. He's the guy that can protect the front of the rim. He's the guy that they can throw the ball to at the end of a game if they need something down low. And they got to make sure that he's healthy going into the playoffs because the last 2 years he hasn't been.
And how would you assess the Houston Rockets? They just made a move recently themselves, getting Josh Smith, who was released by the Detroit Pistons. What do you think of the Rockets, and how good can they be as we move toward the playoffs?
Well, they're very good. They wanted to improve their defense. They did, obviously. I think bringing in Brewer and Smith will help them immensely at the defensive end. They have a lot of different combinations now that they can put out there on the floor depending on matchups. So they have a chance. I think the biggest thing with them is making sure that whoever is distributing the ball, doesn't matter if it's Patrick Beverly, fine, if it's Josh Smith, fine, if it's James Harden, fine. But that person has got to be efficient with the basketball. Got to get the other guys involved. It's okay if you don't have a traditional point guard because they've got so much talent, but they can't have bad possessions, stagnant possessions where they turn the ball over and they don't get what they want. Sorry.
Final question. We lost Stuart Scott on Sunday. What are the things you remember about him, and what were your thoughts when you first heard the news?
Well, unfortunately, you know, Stuart had been sick for a while. You know, most people who either were at ESPN or worked at ESPN knew that it was a very serious illness and had been for some time. So it was nonetheless, you know, a stunning, sad, horrible day. I worked with Stuart for 8 years, and he was fearless, you know, and he was determined to do his job his way. And that was not a job that was conducive to that when he first started. There were a lot of people who said a lot of very negative things about him, and he had the courage to stick with it. And he won over his critics, most of them anyway, and I think the history books will be much kinder to him than his critics, and, because he was a consequential person in the field of sports journalism, television sports journalism. because he made ESPN a place that was accessible to people of color, to young people of all colors, with his, not just what he said, but just his style, his ability, his talent, his intelligence, all of those things. He was a very special guy, and I'm going to miss him.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.